on the stage here. Yeah, Allison is here. Can you turn on your camera, Allison? We're live on LinkedIn. All right.
That was our theme song for 2020. I will survive.
I will survive. That's for sure. Well, thanks everyone for coming again today to another awesome episode of the Manufacturing Ecommerce Success Series with Kurt Anderson and myself, Damon Pistulka. We're hosting Allison DeFord today. She's going to be talking about how to make your customers the hero of their story. And so glad to have you today. Kurt, take it from here. And I'm going to start talking to the people that are on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, Damon, thank you. So everybody, our dear host with the most, Damon Pistulka from Exit Your Way. He is a growth and exit strategy specialist. So I want to thank everybody. We are on LinkedIn Live, Twitter Live, Facebook Live. We're here on Remo. So this is my honor, my privilege to introduce my dear friend, Allison DeFord. So Allison, I have to, since the title of our program is Stop Being the Best Kept Secret. I did it last time. I'm going to do it again. So ready? So everybody, here's a great quote from a dear friend of mine from this wonderful, amazing, incredible, best-selling book in the Anderson family. Here's the quote. Staying relevant and profitable today requires three things: continuous self-disruption, reorganization, strategic communications, continuously innovating and keeping pace with how customers research, purchase, and share to avoid falling into the abyss of mediocrity.
The
abyss of mediocrity, or God forbid, extinction. Manufacturers must do something they've always resisted in the past. That's from none other, AKA our trailblazer, the founder of Felt Marketing, the podcast phenom of Manufacturing OutLoud, Wonder Woman, Allison DeFord. Allison, thank you for joining us today.
Well, I can't thank you guys enough. I'm happy to be back. Feels like I was just on. How the time flies. And you guys, what you're doing this entire last year has been incredible. For anybody who's new, you want to be part of this group. This is an amazing tribe of trailblazers, and I am just grateful to be part of it. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm going to share my screen, and I want to make this value-packed for anybody who took their time today to jump on and hang out with us. So let's start talking about how to make the customer the hero of your story. So let's see here. Here we go. Okay. So, why do you want to make the customer the hero of your story? The simple thing. Can you see okay?
Now we got it. Okay. I didn't have it. I do now.
Okay. So, why in the heck would you want to do this? Well, people make decisions based on emotions nearly 90% of the time. And most of the time when I tell manufacturers this, they look at me with this blank stare like, what? Really? And, then people back the decision up with rational thinking. So traditionally, I feel like many manufacturers and brands have done this backwards, right? And I myself have been guilty of this in the past, where we try to market to somebody rationally with features and benefits and pictures of our fleets of trucks and piles of lumber and, our big staff and our big building. And then we sort of forget about that emotional part. And effectively, you're making it harder to choose you, to trust you, and harder to repeat the experience. So by making your customer the hero of your story, you do three things. You engage 90% of the decision-making brain instead of only 10. So, wow, that sounds easier. And you make it easier to trust you faster. We all want that, right? Because it's challenging. And people have to trust you before they buy from you. And then you demonstrate that by choosing you, they will transform in some way. They're going to become faster, smarter, stronger, cooler, more profitable. And who doesn't want that? So how in the hell do we do this? Well, there's 4 ways, and it doesn't have to be complicated or difficult. 1, we're going to invite them into the story. 2, we're going to describe their hero state. We're going to guide them with a plan. You're going to become their Sherpa. And then we're going to close the story loop. It's think of this like foreshadowing in a movie, right? You get real excited when you know that Luke Skywalker is probably going to walk out of this movie alive at the end. He's going to conquer the bad guys. And so you want to close the story loop and show people their end state. So, okay, this is all fine and dandy, but you might be thinking, I'm not a marketer. I'm a one-man show, or I'm a one-woman operation. And I've got to do this on my own. So where do I start? And I divided this up into 6 sections. Really, this is very abbreviated, but you've got to start from the inside out. Then you got to strengthen your brand foundation. You got to have a clear strategy that you can actually follow and measure, and that's fun. And you've got to have some better content. That's your substance. That's what fills your amplifiers, right? Your website, your social media, your print, your advertising. Those are merely amplifiers. So we want to help you create better substance so that when you turn up the volume, people dig what they're hearing. And then 6, what does that overall journey look like for your customers? Because that's the overall experience.
So, hey, Allison.
Yeah.
A question for you. Go back one, if you don't mind. Go back real quick on number 1, inside out. Like how, when you're talking with a manufacturer, like how, can you touch on that a little bit? Like how, where do you go with them if they're a little struggling, a little challenging? Maybe marketing hasn't been a top priority over the past. Where do you start with number 1?
Well, we start with stop wee-weeing all the way home.
And so for our attendees today, we've got a great group today. We've got AJ, my dear friend Jane is with us again, Jody, Leela, Penny, Ray, of course, and Val. So for anybody that's new to the wee-wee syndrome, please enlighten our loyal audience. What is wee-wee?
Well, the wee-wee syndrome is when everything about your messaging and your marketing is filled with we instead of you and your. Mm-hmm. So a quick assessment is to take a look at your website and take a look at how many times, and social media too, because I see this is rampant in social media. Are you talking about you all the time, or are you leading with you and why a customer or prospective customer should care about what you're talking about? So, and we've all done this. I have too. So I'm not above the law on this.
We're guilty.
Yeah. And this is when you make you the hero, right? And I felt like this way in the beginning for sure. And I'd love to know in the comments if anybody else feels like they did this, say yes. When you feel like I'm the hero, I've got this special process or this special system, or we do this special thing and we're super smarter than you, and we're going to lead you to nirvana.
Right.
And that is not, inspiring to people. So stop wee-weeing all the way home. That's what I tell my manufacturing clients, and stop looking at your own navel. And I'm using this picture again because I think it's perfect and it really illustrates what you should stop doing. Again, I have been so guilty of this. In the comments, say yes if you have as well, right? This picture reminds me of my cousins when I was a kid. I said this last time, so I hate to be redundant, but it's so true. We're growing up in Indiana. It's hot and humid. They're always running around with their shirt off, and they're always like so fascinated with their own navel, like, right? Making it talk and do things. And you're like, oh my God, get over yourself. Well, I think we all do that as brands, and we need to stop it. We need to pay attention to what's in it for them. They don't care about you.
Mm-hmm.
And this is hard for brands to hear.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about you. They care about them. And the most important thing you can do is stop wee-weeing all the way home and always try to answer the 3 questions. If you take nothing else from what I say today,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Take this. Always try to answer what's in it for them. Why should they buy this thing, whatever it is, and why should they buy it from you? And if those 3 questions can be answered in every bit of content that you put out on your website, it'll make it so much easier to trust you and to choose you.
That's phenomenal. So just to come in real quick. So Damon, we had the honor privilege for the last month of 2020 to go through this little 30-day challenge.
Yeah.
And I think Val, who's with us today, I thought I saw her drop a comment that I don't know if she might have gone through it or she made a comment about your challenge. So what a privilege, what an honor. Can you talk a little bit about, I loved it. So what it was, folks, Allison sent out a daily message, a guide. So kind of what you're getting here, we had the privilege of going through the whole month. Can you talk like that with them? You know, we always think about what's in it for me, and as a consumer or as a business owner, we should be thinking what's in it for me for our survival. But when we're talking about our customers, this is absolutely brilliant. Laser focused on what's in it for them. And this ties in with the whole hero story. Can you just chime a little bit like your 30-day challenge and like how you did those step-by-steps for us? You know, we don't need to go deep, but just talk a little bit because it was just so fulfilling. I know Damon and I just loved it. Can you talk about just for a quick minute there?
Absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, it's the Breakthrough Bootcamp 30-day challenge. We are going to be opening it up again for people to take advantage of it. And what it is really to take you through, it's like a marketing masterclass in 30 days. And it gives you all the tools and resources for you. It's like teaching a man or a woman to fish, right? And so that you can help yourself and take yourself through this process. It's the same process that we take our clients through, and we charge 5 figures to do this. This is a way for us to give back and give you the tools so that, you know, you can effectively help yourself if you're a smaller company. And I get what that feels like. I have been in the position where I couldn't afford to hire any help, and I had to do it all on my own. And so this was the whole point, is to really help you go from meh to mind-blowing in 30 days, to really put these things to use. It's not, there's no fluff, there's no smoke and mirrors, as Mark Roberts always says. It's the real deal, and it's real tools that you can use to help yourself to make your customer the hero of your story, to create a playbook so that you can have a better strategy for next year, and then actually produce content and improve your channels, right? And really to improve, shorten the buying cycle is really what this is about. And to really help you nurture customers before, during, and after they purchase, because that's where a lot of people fall down.
Right.
And that's what this particular slide too talks about. Hopefully the bootcamp too will help you become or realize that you're a specialty versus a commodity.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many we work with a lot of building materials companies, and, you know, when you start working with them, you say, well, what's special and different about you? And they say, well, you know, really this thing that we produce, it's pretty much a commodity. And I stop them right there. And I say, whoa, hold the phone. If you're a commodity, you know, why are you going to stand out to anybody that's out there? Coffee used to be a commodity until it wasn't.
Right.
Water used to be a commodity. So I try to use these examples from, you know, not people in building materials to demonstrate this is possible. And it's about the experience that you create for customers. And the place that you want to start is by looking at how do you want them to feel? And the best, my favorite thing is when I say this in a strategy meeting with a client and they all look at me like, say what? It's like, well, think about it. This strategy, your brand foundation, although you want it, you want it to be all about you. If you decide your intention, you're in business for people, right? If you sell drywall or if you sell an exit strategy to help businesses exit their business the way they want to, right? You have a process. Well, if you think about this in terms of how they're going to feel at every stage of this buying cycle. So, when they're in awareness, the first stages, and they're coming into contact with your customer touch points like print or direct mail, or, they click in Google and then they come find you. How do you want them to feel? And this is a very different way to approach your messaging. And it really puts the customer center stage. For years, we've talked about being customer centric. This will make it so.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I loved about the 30-day challenge is like, I felt like I had an accountability partner. It's almost like, you can go to the gym and get a decent workout, but boy, if you have a trainer over your shoulder, yelling at you, do an extra set or go an extra mile or what have you. And plus you get this wonderful little book here. So I strongly encourage, and Val chimed in. She said she's on day 6 of the challenge. I even told Allison, I feel like I need to go through it a second time. It's so high level. And just, now that I know what I'm getting into, but it's learning these catchphrases. It's being laser focused on the customer, not deviating from that path, and focusing on the with them. How do you say that? With
them.
Yep. So, it's focusing on the customer, making them the hero. And then I love how you have this journey laid out. And so everything that you do, focusing on the persona, focusing on your message, focusing on the, and again, not being married to your solution, but being married to your customer's victory, is what I've learned from you in that boot camp. Absolutely.
Well, and think about it, especially with 2020, their hero state has, may have changed.
Totally.
So, and I love what you just said. I've been so guilty of this. Mm-hmm. When we're so focused on our solution, we forget to see what's transforming right in front of us.
Because Kodak was very focused on a great solution until it wasn't, Blockbuster Video, Borders Bookstore. So we could go on with a graveyard of, I always call them the e-commerce graveyard victims. But when you get so focused on, hey, this is, when those tragic words come out of your mouth, this is how we've always done it. Yep. You need to revisit, or you need to sign up for Allison's boot camp. So
and I think it all comes back again to me. This is spent a tremendous amount of time on this after the boot camp and before, trying to figure this out with the 3 questions. If people just answer those 3 questions, what's in it for them? Why should I buy? Why should I buy from you? Those are so key. And if you can't hit your homepage above the fold, first thing you do, if those 3 things aren't answered in a few seconds, you're probably not done or not where you want to be yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yeah, right. For sure.
Cool stuff though.
All right. I'm going to keep going because I don't want to run out of time here.
Yeah.
And the most important thing that we have found that you can do when you are strengthening your brand foundation is create a really compelling, unique value proposition that transcends the customer into their hero state. I'll give you a super quick example from Felt. If you, and I don't feel like our website's perfect. We're in the midst of overhauling it. But what I am proud of is our very simple, unique value proposition. And that is less marketing, more sales. And the reason that we arrived at that was really understanding our customers, that although they are VPs of marketing and CEOs, they don't really want more marketing. Mm-hmm. Nobody does, because we're being marketed to death, right? You see 5,000 ads a day, whether it's social or online or on your phone or on TV. And plus, I think marketing kind of needs a rebrand because it's a lot different, better, and wholehearted than it used to be. And so the fact that we know our customers don't want more marketing, they want more sales. So if we speak their language right up front and say, hey, by working with us, we're going to help you market less, meaning do less of what is effective and has impact and value, do less of it, but it's going to be really high quality and it's going to be connected and you're going to end up getting more sales. So right up front, we're speaking their language. And, a unique value proposition, that's your promise to help your customer transform. So I think if you got nothing more, again, and this is completely condensed, but if you get nothing more from the brand, strengthening your brand foundation, arrive at a unique value proposition and put that above the fold on your website.
That's real quick, Allison. So our dear friend Leela's on a call today, and she's with the company Weber Knapp, incredible, amazing company, founded, I believe, in 1909. And so they do ergonomic products and metal fabrication and just do incredible things. And they went through they work with Josh Curcio and the folks
nice.
at Protocol 80, our dear friends. And they talk, their persona is engineering Chucky. And, they have like this deep dedication on how do we make Chucky that hero? How do we solve Chucky's problems? How do we have Chucky shine with his boss, with his customer, da, 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 da. And so that's, the way you simplify things for all of us, it just makes it so much easier. Like, it's like the clouds clear. And then okay, now we can just laser focus, get rid of the clutter of what we shouldn't be doing. And just okay, this is how we keep instituting these competitive advantages for us with our message, with our delivery, and that customer relationship.
Absolutely. And so to keep going to the next thing that you want to focus on is your strategy. Once you've got your brand squared away, you know who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, and who your ideal customer is, and how, what their hero state looks like. You want to focus on a tighter strategy. And this is going to set you up to be planned versus haphazard, which is how a lot of companies operate. They say they have a strategy, but it's one of those things. And again, been guilty of this. By the time you get to the end of the year, you're like, what was our strategy in January? It was really good, I recall, but I don't really remember. So we want strategy to become something that is clear and easy to follow. And the way that you decide what should our strategy be, it's shared values. So again, if you know what your values are, and you know what their values are, it's that sweet spot in the middle. And so if you decide, hey, our shared values are X, X, and X, then that is going to drive your strategy, right? How you communicate with them, why you communicate. And I had a mentor once that said, when the why is clear, the hows will appear all around you. And I have learned this firsthand. So why in the hell are we doing this, first of all? And once you're clear on that, how to do it.
Yeah.
Start showing up all around you. And then you got to figure out, okay, well, we know how now. Where are we going to be? What are we going to say? What are we going to do? How are we going to behave? And then how often? So that's that consistency, right? Consistency breeds familiarity. Familiarity builds trust. So you want to create an experience that appeals to your customer's sense of what's important to them. Safety, efficiency, maybe it's legacy. I know Damon can relate to that. That's most of his clients, right? Their sense of freedom or profitability. So once you laser in on that, again, creating these marketing things, these tools, your strategy, your content, it all becomes so much easier. I'm going to throw in like an end state here. This is an example of a campaign we did for Accuride. Well, actually, we helped them build this brand. It was brand new, Cinzion. And this is just to show you an overview. So see, when everything is clearly developed, clearly defined, the customer is the hero at every stage of the buying cycle. And you've got this consistency with look, feel, voice, tone, and you're emotionally engaging at every opportunity. And then I'm only going to do one slide on content because we could do a whole masterclass on content. Right. But you really want to have a content strategy. A lot of people go, well, content strategy, how do I do that? Can't we just start talking? And I say not recommended, right? This is going to help you be proactive versus reactive, which so many of us, how many years have we spent being reactive? Mm-hmm. It's really hard and it's exhausting. And if you're constantly just reacting, on social media, or eventually you run out of things to say. I've run into so many manufacturers. And again, in the comments, if you're listening in on this, put yes if you feel like you've hit that plateau where you're like, we don't know what to talk about this week. Right. And it's really frustrating. So this is a content strategy that we did for Zabitat, and they're a building products company. And if you take anything from all these slides, because this can look, like, whoa, I have to create a whole document like that. No. If you're a one-man show or a one-woman show, a small operation, that's why I highlighted the things on the left. If you did nothing more than decide what are our core messages. Like, for example, with Zabitat, we believe in the philosophy of enlightened living and encourage it by removing obstacles, like things like that, like your overarching, what are your core messages to your customers, helping them be the hero of your story. 2, if you create a voice and a tone, how do you speak? Is it friendly? Is it more with authority? How are you coming across so that you can create this consistent voice, so that no matter if people interact with you on social media or on your website or in person, you sound the same, because then that helps them know you and trust you. Also, what's your personality? Are you a big ass fan company where you can be fun and a little irreverent? You joke around a lot. You speak your customers' language. You use their jargon. Or is your business a little more serious? And maybe you don't feel comfortable with that. But again, how will this resonate with your customers? How's it going to make them feel? Are they, a casual bunch? Or are they very white collar, 3-piece suit kind of folks? So that will help you decide how you're going to talk to them, how you sound. And then the topics that you're going to be known for. So if you even came up with three topics that we're going to be known for, and you did like a mind map, and I should have created a slide for that. But you can use a tool like Simple Mind. I believe it's just simplemind.com. It's fantastic. And if you just start in the middle with the customer, and then you pull out 3 bubbles, 3 main things that they care about. And then you start pulling out bubbles from each one of those, you will never run out of things to talk about. It makes it incredibly easy.
And Allison, can you take 1 second, because the great thing with you talk the talk, you walk the walk. So you practice what you preach. So you're very consistent with your messaging for Felt, very consistent with your messaging on LinkedIn. You have a snarky edge. It's absolutely hysterical. If you're not connected with Allison, I invite you, welcome you, beg you to follow Allison. She's absolutely hysterical. Now, there is one warning. Please don't drink anything when you're reading one of Allison's posts, because your drink will end up on your keyboard and it'll damage your keyboard. But talk about your messaging, how you're dedicated to solving the manufacturer's problem, marketing. Talk about how you're and very consistent. How can you just talk on that for a minute?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you. We put ourselves through this process a number of years ago, and it was really all about creating alignment. We used to feel like we were way different than our customers. We felt smarter. We felt like we knew how to market and they didn't. We were going to be their savior. Everybody's
been there. Come on. We'll put the yeses in the chat box, right? We've part of that maturity process that we all painfully go through.
Absolutely. And we took ourselves through this process, and I literally sat back in the conference room and I said, we took ourselves through our own origin story, and our values and their values and what the shared values were. And I literally sat back in the chair and I said, holy shit, we are our customers. We're building something from nothing.
Right.
We've struggled. We know what it's like in the beginning.
Yeah.
We, you know, and it was this a revelation. And I was so grateful. It was really like a brick to the head. And so what that did, to answer your question, is we followed this process that I teach and that Felt promotes and helps our clients with. We used it. We use it today. And what it helped us do was start creating content that was consistent, to schedule ahead of time, to create foundational pieces like on our blog or LinkedIn articles and get them published. And then to break those down into like 15 smaller conversations. So a lot like Gary Vaynerchuk, I honestly follow his model when it comes to that. It's like start with these larger pieces and then, you know, break it down. So if you are not good with content, you can work with someone like Felt. You can work with someone like, Greg
Mishu. Yep.
Windbound.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You can work with somebody to help you create content. And what happens is you start creating these consistent vehicles. So for example, we started with hashtag TGIIM. Thank God I'm in manufacturing. We started putting those out on Mondays, right? Instead of TGIF. 2, we started hashtag Dear Customer, and we put those out every Tuesday. Friday, hashtag Felt F-bomb. So on Fridays, it's a little more edgy. It's a little more brick to the head. Each one of these has a different purpose, but it's really to help our customers help their customers. Right. So it's not about us being clever or being liked, you know, or whatnot on social media. It's really about how can we continuously refuel our customers, our potential customers, and help them help themselves, and inspire them. You know, it's that constant. And then also the other thing you've got to do is you've got to engage. Social media, for example, it's a two-way conversation. So some brands, unfortunately, treat it like a megaphone. Yeah. And it's constantly like, that's the wee, right? We're doing this. We're doing this. We won an award. Don't you think we're cool? Do you want us to tell you more about us? And it's like, God, no, please stop.
Please stop. It's a bad date, right?
Yeah. It's like being the person at the party. And you guys have heard me say this before. You show up and every single time you only talk about yourself.
Right.
And eventually nobody wants to hang out with you. I think we've all made that mistake too. So, you know, the point with content is have a plan. You want to be proactive and you want to have this consistency. And so if you start building these little consistent vehicles for every single week, or another great one is every 2 weeks, we put out our email newsletter, WTMFG. So what the heck's going on in manufacturing? You know, what the heck's a new idea this week? And every 2 weeks, people can count on it. Then what we do is we take the content from that and we'll create an article on our blog. And then you take that and you break it down into your social media posts. So as you can see, it's all connected and it doesn't have to be difficult. This makes it easier. It also makes it easier for your customers to consume. Right. And again, to trust you and choose you, and then to share the experience, because that's what everybody wants.
And your newsletter is fantastic. I look forward. So if you're not signed up for Allison's newsletter, it is absolutely hysterical. It's witty. It's funny. It's charming. And again, her boot camp, she sings to us. When boot camp came to an end, I missed your voice. I was going to start calling you every morning. So, but yeah, folks, sign up for Allison's newsletter. It is, if you're in manufacturing, it's funny, it's engaging, it's value, it's wonderful. I don't know how you have the time. You do an excellent job with that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. The newsletter is always from me. I make a point that there isn't anybody else that could write that for me. It has to come from my heart. And I wanted to make it more like a personal letter to you, the reader, instead of, you know, an overview kind of a newsletter. I wanted it to feel a little bit old school in that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to be mindful of time. Do we have just like a little bit more time?
Yeah. Yep.
A couple more minutes. Yeah.
So here's something that most brands do when they come to us and say, hey, we need a new website. And we say, okay, cool. Why do you think you need a new website? Well, we need, you know, it hasn't been updated in a while and we want to make it look better. Okay. So do you want it to convert better than it's converting now? And they kind of look at me because right now, you know, it looks like you're interrupting people. Oh, you're not connecting emotionally on an emotional level, and they're not the hero. So let's take a look at the rest of your content and all your other touch points. So anyway, my point in saying this is everybody wants to jump into the amplifiers like your website, like your social media. We want to do digital marketing. Okay, great. What are you going to say? What is your unique value proposition? You know, everything stems from the roots. So if your roots aren't being watered, if your roots aren't strong, then the likelihood of the tree above ground being strong enough and sustainable to last for, you know, years, decades, generations is unlikely. So that's why we like to look at, I want to show you two quick examples of brands that I think are absolutely crushing it. And the reason I like to use brands outside of manufacturing, even though this is a manufacturer, they're also, a consumer brand. And I think we can learn a lot from them. So if you've never purchased anything from Duke Cannon, I recommend that you do. At least look at their packaging.
Yeah.
They're now in Target.
Yeah.
So this is really exciting and they benefit veterans. So I love this. And one of the things that they say, and so Kurt, Damon, this is where I got this from. I didn't make it up. When I say in my boot camp, hey, you smell like accomplishment. It's from Duke Cannon.
Yeah.
They have this right on the bar of soap.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you, I bought this for my husband a couple years ago, and we still have this joke. Okay, so this is a brand that sells body care products. You're like, snooze. We all use deodorant and soap or, you know, whatever. Well, it's so powerful and it's so fun that, number one, they're cause oriented. So I like that. So I am more likely to buy from them because they're cause oriented. Secondly, they make you the guy, the hero. I mean, look at their name. Who would want to have the name Duke Cannon, right? Like you're the dude. So they even started with the name. And then they say things like, not you're gonna smell like accomplishment, you smell like accomplishment. It's happening right now. Yeah. So I wanted to point that out. I wanted people to pay attention to that. Right. And then just their content, the way that they speak. It's not just top sellers for January, it's top smellers. So simple, but hilarious.
Yeah.
And in a world of weak handshakes, here's a finger crushing introduction. Like they're totally capitalizing on how men think and behave. I love this. And they have this fantastic little tab on the side of their homepage that says, I think it says first time here. And I thought, oh my God, I love that. And I clicked on it and you get this little box down in the right-hand corner that I showed you. And it says, hey, we hate spam too. So they just address right up front, what could be some of your reservations? What could be some of your concerns? Let's hit that head on and then get you right into, you know, our club, if you will. You're part of us now. And I just think their marketing, their content, their strategy is absolutely brilliant. Content too, by the way, isn't just words. It's pictures. It's video. It's every way that you visually show up to your audience. This is another example of a building materials company, right? Which typically I think can be really boring. It's not super exciting unless you're a builder or a contractor. I work with clients like this, so I think it's really exciting, but I know the majority of people are like, oh, building products. Okay. But I wanted to show you Lansing. They created this different approach several years ago, and they just continue to knock it out of the park. So they don't start by showing you pictures of their building products. They start by showing you a picture of you out on the job site, right there with like the handshake. Well, what does that mean to you? Mm-hmm. Right? This is a common experience. They're delivering excellence from the inside out, and so are you. Mm-hmm. They also have a marketing department to help you. I'm like, what? How many people offer a resource like that? Because contractors are notoriously bad about marketing, and they need help with it. So Lansing did something above and beyond, and they created a vehicle to help them. They also work on recruiting on this site. Hey, are you looking for a new opportunity? I think that's brilliant. And it's really people focused. I think that's the other thing that I am consistently encouraging my clients to do. And I encourage you listening to do the same thing is, make it about people, because that's really what all of our businesses are about. Bottom line, no matter what we sell. Mm-hmm. And if you, the viewer, can see yourself there in, on the website or there in the social media post, and you're having a feeling, you're happy, you're confident, you're excited. That is a huge, huge driver. And unfortunately, I just realized my graphics didn't show up right. Customer's hero should just have this nice soft drop shadow under it. But anyway, the whole point of this is the journey. So it's a guided transformation. You're helping them go from Steve Rogers to Captain America. And maybe they're like somewhere in between. Not everybody is the skinny, scrawny dude or gal who's, really struggling. Like it might be somebody who's like semi-Captain America. But the whole point of helping them become the hero is you just look at these two pictures and which one do you want to be? Right? You want to be in the transformed state. You want to be in the hero state. And so I encourage you wholeheartedly, with everything in my being, from all the experiences that I've had, all the failures, all the successes, is anything you can do to become not just seen and heard, but felt by your ideal customer will help you make sales easier and more profitable and grow.
All right.
Wow. I need a cigarette.
Yeah.
I need a cigarette after that one. Wow. Standing ovation.
Yeah.
Everybody, standing ovation. Again, we could go on and on. Allison, as always, this is just phenomenal. I feel compelled, and I know, we snuck over on time. My dear friend Amy is with us today. She's in Ohio, and she's starting up this super cool. She has a super cool. It's kind of a flavored water, I believe. It's a drink that she does, and just kind of starting out from scratch. We had a little exchange this week. And so very, very rough, kind of putting you on the spot. Somebody just starting out, trying to crack the beverage market. What is there anybody on the planet that doesn't drink? Of course. Is there much competition in her space? Of course. What, just kind of real quickly, kind of putting you on the spot, what would you tell somebody like Amy that's just kind of getting started out, trying to, organic, grassroots, trying to bootstrap her operation? What would you tell her kind of on a first engagement?
I would encourage her first to really listen. Mm-hmm. Really listen, like on social media platforms, to how people are talking about the product that she's selling. Mm-hmm. How people are, is it like, who's the ideal customer? Is it an athlete? Like, is this geared towards sports drinks? My guess is it's for a specific someone, mm-hmm. right? It's not mm-hmm. for everyone. So if you start out as, with a new product, like I'll give you a real quick example, and mm-hmm. this will tie into Amy. We had a client approach us, and they were creating a all natural deodorant. Mm-hmm. And they quickly, figured out there are a whole lot of people in that space right now. So how are they going to stand out on a shelf mm-hmm. or on their Amazon store? Mm-hmm. What was different about them? And what we helped them get to, and Amy, you can do this for yourself as well. The boot camp would help you do this also, is really focus in on, well, what kind of person am I trying to be of service to? Excuse me. And what we found out with them was it was outdoor people, right? It wasn't the yuppie mom, driving around in her Tesla and she wants the healthy deodorant. That's fine. That's one market, but that wasn't their market. And so the more we kept whittling away at the marble, like when the statue of David was being chiseled, keep chiseling away and drill down to think of one persona, and then start listening to how they're talking and where they're talking. And that will help you create something that matters to those people who will care. And when you're trying to speak to one person, think of it like Warren Buffett. He writes his annual letter every year, right? How many hundreds of thousands of people read it?
Right. Millions, probably. Right.
Yeah.
He thinks of one person when he writes it.
Yeah.
And that's his sister, Doris.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really? That's
so if Doris could understand it and it would have meaning for her, then he feels like it's a win.
That is awesome. That's a great comparison.
It's great stuff. We're gonna shut down on LinkedIn here so we can go back to the tables. And sorry about the thing bouncing up there on the screen, but we're gonna do that, and we're gonna continue going here on Remo. If you're listening to us on LinkedIn, you can see it in our posts, and we post an event every week about this with the topic and everything. It's on my profile. Kurt talks about it. Others talk about it. So you can find the link. The link stays the same every week. So you can get here to Remo every week like that, or you can look at my profile on LinkedIn. But thanks, Allison, so much
for having me.
Kurt, take it away, my friend.
Hey, if you guys didn't get enough of Allison, and I don't know who on the planet does get enough of Allison, so a group of us are doing an e-commerce boot camp for the MEP. So that's a Manufacturing Extension Partnership in Illinois. So we're super thrilled. We're honored. If you call Allison, she was part of the Alibaba boot camp in December. We're honored and privileged of doing with Illinois. I'm kicking things off on January 26th. Allison is, I believe, on February 9th. And so we'll be promoting that, but you'll get a full hour of Allison at that webinar. Strongly encourage you guys to check out that webinar series. Allison, thank you. God bless you. She's on her way up to Nebraska. She's in Orange County, Southern California. She's leaving to go see her mother with her 13-year-old daughter tomorrow. So safe travels, Allison. Thank you for today. And thank you, everybody. Wish everyone a great weekend. Thank you for taking your time with us.
You bet. We'll be heading back to the tables.